SUVs of all shapes and sizes are dominating the Indian car landscape. Back in 2019, when Kia decided to enter Indian shores, its model of choice was, little surprise, the Seltos. 4 years on, the company is looking for a fresh dose of momentum and therefore say hello to the all-new Kia Seltos. Offered once again in the Tech line, the X line behind me and the GT line, we are in Nagpur to test drive this car and tell you all that you need to know about the all-new Kia Seltos SUV. Now, with all the trims on offer, all the variants on offer, all the engine options and the transmission choices, the Kia Seltos and which one to buy can get a little confusing. Across the trims though, what is common is a larger front grille that now gets a new signature design for the DRLs, LED headlight units, a larger front bumper and larger air intakes on either side of it. There is some chrome or matte black treatment around the grille, depending on whether you're looking at the non-X line or the X line trim. This one is the X line and therefore comes in this matte finish, while the Tech and the GT line come with multiple color options which include both single as well as dual tone options. From the side, the Seltos stands on 16, 17 or 18-inch alloy wheels, again depending on the variants. The alloy designs also vary as per the overall wheel size. There is still a stretched chrome bar under the window line and a sporty roof rail on top. Structurally or dimensionally, nothing has changed, which means the passenger windows still seem a bit too small. Over at the rear, the Seltos' tail light design has been entirely reworked upon, looks much smarter, sportier now, and you just can't miss the stretched light bar design stretching across the boot of the car. The cabin and upholstery color options are also different and depend on the trim line you choose. This here is the black and beige combo that is one of the 4 choices you get on the Tech line. It is a bit too loud and tacky for my personal taste, but thankfully I can opt for the more muted shades as well. The X and the GT lines get one cabin and upholstery color choice each, and these are more to my personal taste. But color scheme is just one small part of the cabin highlight. The Seltos now gets its 10.25-inch main display and 10.25-inch MID together into a single flowing housing. The infotainment screen packs a whole lot, including support for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The D-cut steering wheel with mounted controls also feel very premium. Red stitchings if you are on the X line. Front seat ventilation and air purification system continue to exist, while the 8-speaker Bose sound system and ambient lighting have been carried forward as well. The dual zone climate control is absolutely new, and there is a wireless phone charging station as well as plenty of USB ports. Look above and there is a massive dual pane sunroof as well. The dash and center console layout is nicely done, and while there are still a lot of hard plastings in many areas, the cabin overall has a premium appeal. Space and comfort remain adequate as well. But all of these things won't count for much if the drive itself isn't as exciting as the new 1.5-litre TGDI motor promises. So is it then? Kia is targeting a younger car buying audience with the all-new Seltos, and chances are that a younger Gen Z driver would want more performance from his or her Seltos, and therefore this particular TGDI petrol engine puts out a whole lot of power and a whole lot of torque vis-a-vis the naturally aspirated motor. In terms of numbers, this car offers 157 bhp and a delicious 253 Newton meters of torque, and what the figures effectively translate to out on open roads is far more pulling power regardless of which drive mode you may have selected. Yes, the Seltos does come with 3 drive modes. You get the economy, you get it in normal, and you can also engage the sport mode. Now this is across the petrol engine options or the diesel engine options, and that's fantastic. But when you engage the sport mode in this TGDI engine, there is definitely a really very noticeable bump up in power. Now this definitely is the engine you should be looking for, even though it comes at a slight premium in terms of pricing. But if you're someone who loves long highway journeys and don't want to spend too much time planning overtaking moves and just getting along in a very confident manner, then this engine will definitely deliver. It comes mated in this particular model to the 7-speed DCT gearbox, and well, much has been spoken about the DCT gearbox, so I'm not going to go into the detail, apart from the fact that yes, it continues to be buttery smooth. The starry highlight here is also the addition of level 2 ADAS. And while I personally continue to doubt the feasibility of ADAS in Indian conditions, on straight and empty roads like this, we did manage to test highlights like lane keep assist, forward collision warning, and adaptive cruise control, all working with precision courtesy 1 front cam and 3 radars on the SUV. So we've driven the X-Line with the 7-speed DCT. It's time for us now to take a closer look at the Tech Line with the IMT transmission, the clutchless transmission. Now in terms of power and torque, the figures are identical to what the X-Line offers, or the GT line also offers with the TGDI petrol motor. But what is different here in terms of mechanics is this 6-speed clutchless transmission unit. Now personally, I'm not a very big fan of the clutchless transmission, and yet it does give you some sort of a benefit, especially in heavy traffic conditions where there is no clutch and yet you have to sort of make the gear changes. And some enthusiasts would actually really like the fact that you still have control over the gear that you want to engage. In that sense, this is quite a smooth gearbox. But depending on your driving habits, the way you want to shift gears, you can be quite brisk with the transmission. And yet, having driven the 7-speed DCT, I can safely tell you that that car is still far more aggressive in its drivetrain than this particular model. Do remember though that you are paying a significantly lesser price for the Tech Line and the Tech Line with the clutchless transmission compared to the GT line with the 7-speed DCT or the X line with the 7-speed DCT. But the trade-off is the fact that on this particular variant and trim, you do miss out on certain key highlights. There is no level 2 ADAS on this particular trim and variant. There is also no head-up display, and these are things, especially after having driven the X line, things that I am sorely missing. That said, if you are on a budget and the Tech Line's design and styling is still quite attractive, and so are the all-beige interiors of this car, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem with this particular variant, or the convenience of this transmission also should be right up your comfort zone. Essentially, whichever variant you choose, whichever trim you choose, whichever engine option or transmission choice, there is much that's new that the new Seltos brings to the game. Pricing starts at Rs 10.89 lakh and goes up to Rs 19.99 lakh ex-showroom for the X-Line version. It's obviously not possible to cover every single aspect of the Seltos in a video review, but we've done exactly that in our in-depth written review, so please be sure to check that as well. In this episode though, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching.